Welcome to Amy Learns to Cook. I'm Eric, and on today's show we're going to brine a turkey. It's almost Thanksgiving, and we figured we'd try a new brining recipe. We love the brine because turkey can benefit from it because it is a lean meat and it has a little bit of flavor to it. But it really comes out moist and juicy, and everybody loves it. So we thought we'd show you how to do it and see if you like it as well. We're going to go ahead and we're going to brine it. We're going to let it overnight, maybe 15 hours. Let it dry for a couple hours after we remove the brine from it and pat it dry, and then that way the skin will be all nice and dry. And then we're going to throw it on the backwood smoker for a few hours and let it cook up, and then that'll be really yummy. So let's get brining. So this recipe is pretty simple. As you may know, a brine can be as simple as water and salt. I had a video where I talked about why brine and some of the things you can use in it, and I'm using a little bit of variety of some of that. This isn't that hard of a recipe, other than how long does it take to pour some salt, pour some sugar, go raid the pantry and see what we have. So what I did was I'm going to make a 2-gallon recipe, and we're going to use this large pot over here to hold the brine and the turkey. And we actually have room in the refrigerator out in the garage, so that's where we're going to go ahead and store it overnight. But this recipe, rather than heat up 2 gallons of water, we're only heating up about 6 cups, which is about 1.5 quarts. The rest of it will be ice cold water, and we need to bring that down as fast as we can. The reason why I'm heating this up is because when you're trying to mix so much salt and so much sugar, it doesn't really want to dissolve all that well. The heat will help it immensely. While we're at it, we're going to throw all these other goodies in there and just kind of make a little bit of a potpourri of funness here. So first thing we're going to do here is I've got a couple of cups of salt. So we're just going to go ahead and dump that in here. And it's just happy. We're going to go ahead and mix in as well 2 cups of sugar. Now with the sugar, and let me go back with the salt. The salt, I'm just using regular table salt that doesn't have any iodine in it. I could have also used kosher, but kosher is more bulkier because of the granules, the crystals are bigger. So I would have probably had to use almost 4 cups of that stuff. So it's a preference. You can go either way, it doesn't matter. The sugar, could use brown, white, could use honey, can use molasses if you want, maple syrup, anything that's sweet you can use as well. And that just helps offset the saltiness of this. Because to face it, we're going to rinse off the brine when we're done and everything, but the brine that's still in the bird is going to obviously taste salty. And the sugar helps cut that salty taste. So you get the benefit of the brine without the excessive saltiness taste. Some of these other things are going to also go in and help add flavor. So let's go ahead. In fact, I had to write this down because I couldn't memorize it. This is 4 tablespoons of mulling spice. So if you want to take apple cider and make it taste great, you can use this. But this contains some good things that happens to work well with the brine. So it's got cinnamon, mace, cloves, cardamom seed, and cracked cassia. So we're just going to go ahead and add those individually. When I got mulling spice, I just add it all at once. I'm just going to go ahead and throw it in here and stir it. I'm going to bring this ultimately back to a boil, and I think that's going to help the flavors kind of meld a little bit, and then we'll chill this as fast as we can. We have 5 bay leaves. Put that in there. And that was also 2 tablespoons of thyme. I forgot I had that in there. But that did have to go in there, so that's not a problem. I have 5 cloves of garlic that I just half minced up. It's not, big deal. We have 3 tablespoons of black peppercorns. and we're just going to go ahead and throw those in there. And I have one onion that I just minced, kind of like sliced up. Put it in there. And if you've got rosemary, like dried rosemary, that's fine. We just happen to have some fresh that frost hasn't killed yet, so I'm going to go ahead and use it up. So this is actually a couple of twigs. I'm just going to go ahead and break it. I really don't want to personally rip the leaves off. And then lastly, I've got 2 lemons that I just sliced up. They're going to go ahead and add some flavor. They're also going to add a little bit of acid to the brine, which will help with some of the flavors. Just going to dump it in. Now, the main thing is I just more or less wanted to heat this up so that way the salt and the sugar had a chance to dissolve, because the last thing I want to do is pour this into the pot, add cold water to it, throw it in the fridge, or in my case I'm going to add sufficient ice to bring it down even faster, and then just have all the solids sit at the bottom. It's the last thing I want to do. So now that this had a chance to cook the little bit that I wanted to, it's still quite hot. So what I'm going to do here is, and first thing I did was I used these Reynolds oven bags. It happens to fit this pot pretty good, and I'm going to do it so it helps control how much brine I need, because I think with my turkey being about 14-pound turkey, 2 gallons in this pot's pretty big. I'm going to need 3, maybe 3.5 gallons, and I don't feel like making that much. So the bag will help me. Plus it helps take away the problem of the bird floating, and then you got to keep a weight on it. So the pot more or less supports the bag. That's the main thing going on here. The ice will help cool off that a lot, and we have to get the mixture down to 40 degrees refrigerator temp before we even put the bird in it. So the first thing I'm going to do here is put in ice. This is a 10-pound bag of ice. That should be the equivalent of about 1.5 gallons of water once it all melts. So that works out nicely. Directly onto the bed of ice. That we just have hot water, and so right now we have a ton of ice in here. And you can just smell all these herbs in here. And Therapin's rating about 24 degrees, so that's easily food safe. So the next step is to take the bird out of the package and throw it in the brine. Some of the ice has melted out of the brine here. We took a turkey that we'd already thawed out in the fridge. We don't recommend taking a frozen turkey because while it will likely thaw, obviously in salt water, that lowers the freezing temperature, so it would actually thaw out pretty good in there. It might take an extra day of the brining, and I don't know how fast it would absorb the salt that way. So I recommend starting with a thawed out bird. Fresh or frozen that you've already thawed out is good. In this case, we rinsed off all the blood, we cut the tail off, we took the neck and the giblets out, and if there was any loose skin, we trimmed that up real quick. And so now we're just going to go ahead and throw that in the thing here. I'm putting it, the best I can, breast side down. I should have enough water to submerge the whole thing, so it shouldn't really matter. So I'm just going to go ahead and push it down, let a little air escape out of here, and then we'll finish tie it up. So now that we have poured the brine out, rinsed it, pat it dry, this bird is now almost ready to be thrown in the oven, smoker, grill, however you plan on cooking it. One thing I'd recommend is maybe if you can, throw it either in the fridge or back in a cooler for just a little while to try to let the skin dry a little better, because patting it dry will get most but not all of it. And then once the skin is dry, you'll probably have better results with crisping up and everything. So next, what we're going to do is throw it on the smoker, and we'll show you that video very soon. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, please leave a comment and press the subscribe button down below. We have more videos on the way. You can also go out to www.amylearnstocook.com, and she's also on Twitter at twitter.com/AmyLearnsToCook.